Well, big news last week was that the World Bank had approved a $3.75 billion loan to Eskom to help build the Medupi Power Station. But of course, this is just a small part of the utility's needs, and it's now ready to look at the options it has to reduce its R190 billion funding gap. Joining me on the line now is Paul O'Flaherty, Eskom's Finance Director. Paul, good afternoon. Thanks for joining us.
Yes, hi, good afternoon.
Paul, while the loan from the World Bank was welcome news, it's really just a drop in the ocean compared to your overall funding requirements, isn't it?
No, that's right, and a very important part. So it's one of the fundamental building blocks that took more than 15 months to actually put in place. So we're very grateful.
Well, you say it's one of the fundamental building blocks. Having obtained that loan, are you confident the rest is going to fall into place?
Well, I think we certainly have a strategy and a plan and a number of options that we're considering. And I think I've reported earlier we have appointed JP Morgan to assist us over the next 2 months to filter the number of options we have, so we can put firm solutions in place.
Well, obviously it's going to take, as you said, a couple of months to look for some of those solutions. What are some of the things you have in mind at this stage, Paul? Will you be going to the local bond market, the international bond market? What sort of funding mix would you like to see in here?
Yes, obviously one of the things JP Morgan need to help us with is obviously our capital structure. But yes, the international bond market is definitely something we believe there's opportunity. The local bond market we've used successfully. We will continue to use it. In our big build program, we don't think we've maximized on our export credits through the various agencies, so we will be looking at that. And then I think we've got to think at some other type of funding. So we are, as you're aware, looking at potentially introducing an equity partner into the Kusile Power Station, so that's definitely an option. There is an option, obviously, to go and talk to government about potential new equity. And then you could look at other options within Eskom to unlock the value, like refinancing an operating power station. So all these options are going to be considered over the next 2 months.
Of course, we know the government's also going to be going to market. It also has funding requirements going forward. I mean, do you see continued appetite for government and parastatal debt in the local and international markets?
We definitely do, and in fact we on the next roadshow that National Treasury is conducting overseas, we as Eskom are going with them sort of in the background to start introducing ourselves and making ourselves known in that international market. So we certainly believe there's an appetite.
Paul, you said you're looking at introducing equity to the Kusile Power Station. That's something that has been reported on previously. Why limiting yourself to Kusile? Why not looking at Medupi as well and some of your existing power generation?
We will look at those. Those are part of our options. I think it's just Kusile has had the press on it, and it was something Eskom stated previously on it. So as part of the options that we have to look at, we will look at those options too.
Paul, you said it took 15 months to negotiate this World Bank loan, so a long period. What sort of period do we need before you start to get more funding coming in, before you need to start raising finance on the markets?
Well, I would suggest that the World Bank was an exception, being the biggest loan they've ever given, being one of the first times, in fact, the first time the IBRD section of the bank had actually given money to a South African company. So I would suggest it was the novelty of it that took so much time, and also for them to understand us and us to understand them. So I think whatever the other solutions are, and again they would require shareholder and board approval, I would suggest they would be a lot quicker.
And of course, just because you have received this loan and you are putting plans in place to raise the rest of the finance needed, doesn't mean there's not going to be any supply disruptions going forward. And of course, the Minister of Public Enterprises has alluded to this. Is this a real risk at this stage, Paul?
We've always said, and I'll just quote what the Minister said, that the 2011, 2012 year and then 2018 is potential issues. But Eskom is committed to building the Medupi Ingula hydro water storage system, as well as the Kusile power plant, and those should help ensure security of supply through to 2018. But South Africa needs other solutions thereafter to help.
Apart from raising funding, how about cutting costs? What sort of improvements of efficiencies could you implement at Eskom?
Yes, I think we've come out with that, and people have confused efficiencies with restructuring. We're certainly not restructuring. There's a lot of waste within Eskom, like with any major organisation. And if you just take something simple like a procurement process or a hiring process, or the way people do things in the process, there's a lot of inefficiencies that are very obvious that can be reduced. So we're spending a lot of time from the executive level in driving this concept through in the organisation.
Of course, you are also re-looking at some of those sweetheart deals now. I'm particularly referring to the one with BHP Billiton. When would you expect to announce some progress on those negotiations with BHP Billiton?
I think as we said in the press, that we continue to negotiate. We're certainly hoping by the end of May that we could say something further. And then we had certainly indicated that by the third quarter of this year we will have deals in place.
Of course, there were reports last week about a restructuring at Eskom. You have come out saying there is going to be no restructuring of the operations of Eskom. How about things like derivative instruments, though? Would you be perhaps restructuring how you do your finances going forward, because they did lead to a loss in the previous financial year?
Well, the derivatives that led to the loss was effectively the onerous contracts on the Billiton contracts that you spoke about. So there's nothing really you can do other than what we're doing at the moment and to negotiate ourselves into a better position. On derivatives in totality, we follow hedging strategies on our foreign exchange and some of our interest rates, and that's just good practice. So we don't take out any speculative type instruments.